Hello, and welcome to Breathworks with Joy. Today I'm at the lovely Yoga Durango studio here in Durango, Colorado, and I thought I'd share an energizing morning practice with you. So, to begin, let's come into Sukhasana. And today I'd like for us to kind of modify this seating pose by bringing the ankles underneath our opposite knee, creating a little bit more space between the groin and that front calf, joining our palms together in a gesture of balance at our heart center. And as we draw our chin slightly down, it's an invitation to invite the mind to drop down into the body and connect to our heart's intention. What is your intention for today's practice? It could be to energize your body so that you can begin your day nice and fresh, be to invite more clarity into your mind, or just to become more aware as we focus on our breath. And as you're ready, we'll release our hands down and synchronizing our breath with our movement. We're going to take an inhale up through our nose as our arms reach up and touch opposite elbows. And as we exhale, we're going to release our arms out and down. Inhaling perhaps to a count of 5 all the way up and touching opposite elbows. Exhaling through the nose all the way back down. 3 more rounds on your own. And on the completion of your next exhalation, we'll take pause and let's switch the leg that's in front to equalize the opening in the hips. Again, tracking the ankle more underneath the knee and a little bit more space between your front leg and your pelvis. Lovely. Let's inhale the arms outward laterally. And the image here for me is this extension of the rib cage, expanding out towards my fingertips, opening my side body. I'm going to exhale off and over to the right. Inhaling up and exhaling up and over to the left. Inhaling, this time I'm going to add a little twist as I exhale around to the right. Inhaling through center. And exhaling around to the other side. Repeating that sequence. Inhale, equalizing the breath and synchronizing it with your movement. The head may remain neutral. It can look down. It can look even to the sky. Inhale, finding a landmark out of the corner of your back eye. Feeling the expansion of your abdomen as you inhale and the release as you exhale. And after the completion of that round, exhaling your hands back to your hearts. And just taking a moment to check in with your body and noticing how it feels. And then we're going to switch onto our hands and our knees. So making our transition, we'll come into a tabletop position where we'll align our wrist underneath our shoulders. And I like to bring my wrist underneath my outer shoulder, so I keep a nice broad chest. Collarbones extending, broadening, and the tips of the shoulder blades dropping down, tracking the ankles behind the knees and the knees underneath the hips. We're going to exhale as we hollow out our abdominal cavity, chin to the chest, into our hollowing cat. And then inhaling as we find the extension of the spine, broadening the collarbones, lengthening the neck out of the upper back, and exhaling. Inhale. Again, synchronizing your breath with the movement. We'll take 3 more rounds. On your next exhale, let's shift the hips directly back, dropping the weight of our hips back towards our heels, feeling the extension of the spine. You might walk your fingertips out forward and releasing your forehead towards the ground. Feel the expansion of your abdomen against your thighs and letting that breath radiate even into the back body underneath your lower rib cage. The next inhale will bring you up to all fours where we'll curl the toes under and find our downward facing dog, pushing the ground away from us as we extend our hips out beyond the waistline, dropping the heels down, and then shifting forward towards a plank position, bringing the back of our head and our sacrum onto the same plane of alignment. Activate those thighs and lift them up towards the sky. And then as we exhale, we're going to release the knees, the tops of the feet, and I'm going to lower my chest to the ground. Elbows drawing back and down. Extending the legs out of the pelvis. I'm going to release my hands back so the tops of my hands are on the floor, forehead to the ground. Inhaling, keeping the tops of the feet, especially the pinky side of the foot down, back to the hands, drawing the tips of the shoulder blades in and down, broad chest. Exhale, forehead to the floor. Sliding the hands back into either side of your breastbone, lifting the pelvis slightly to push the ground away from you and drawing your hips back towards our child's pose. We're going to repeat that 2 more times. Inhaling up to all fours, curling the toes under to find your downward dog. Shifting forward towards your plank. Releasing the knees, tops of the feet, lowering the chest. And as I lower my chest, right, I'm not collapsing through my core. Keeping that stability, extending arms back, inhaling. Using the strength of the back to open the front of the body, exhale down. Sliding the hands. And then releasing back into child's pose. One more time on your own. Pausing here in child's pose for 3 breaths, trying to equalize the breath, noticing the rate of your heart as it beats in your chest, and slowing that heart rate down as you slow your breath down, taking 1 more cycle of breath here. We're going to transition once more onto our hands and knees, curling our toes under, finding your downward facing dog. And as we shift forward into plank, I'm going to release my right knee directly underneath my hip, bring my right hand just slightly in front of my face. From here, I'm going to kickstand my right foot back and spin to face you. As I engage my thighs and I connect the outer edge of my left foot towards the floor, lifting my arch. I'm going to roll the head of my elbow forward, broaden my collarbones, and place my top hand behind my head. Pushing the ground away from me as I stack my shoulders. The head again may stay neutral. It may choose to look down. For some of you, you might choose to look up. Taking 1 more breath here, and then playing with your balance if you would like. We're going to lift that extended leg out to the side, directly from the hip. Keep breathing, softening the belly to receive the breath. And then I'm going to exhale like a hamstring curl. I'm going to begin to draw my heel towards my glute. Some of you might just stay right here. Some of you might choose to extend that top arm, reach back, and grab the foot, opening up that thigh, the front of the thigh, the quadricep. And again, choosing the angle of your head to suit your physical needs this morning. Stay with your breath. You can play around with bending the elbow to draw that heel in towards the glute, or pressing the foot into the hand to get a little bit more extension. And on the completion of your exhale, we're going to gently release that leg and begin to come up. And as I come up, I'm going to take my right foot and I'm going to bring it directly behind my knee again, just like in my tabletop position. And right now I'm on my hands here, and I'm just dropping my hip down. So sometimes it wants to shoot up to the sky, so I'm dropping the hip down. I'm engaging my thigh. I'm lifting my arch so I'm not collapsing. So there's engagement here. From here, I'm going to begin to walk my hands up and begin to extend laterally over that leg. And this time I'm going to bring my right hand up and bring it behind my head. Maybe that left hand shoots down the leg as we come into gate pose. And again, you can choose where you would like your head to be, neutral, down, or up. Breathing into the side body, the front and the back and the side of the rib cage. Taking one more cycle of breath where you're at. Use the inhale, the strength component of the breath, to support you as you rise. And then I'm going to turn my left knee out on the diagonal. And as I turn it out, my knee is going in the direction of my second and third toe. I'm going to use my forearm, my left forearm, to press into my arm and get some leverage so my side body can find space. And then taking that right arm around, perhaps the thumb will come down and we can bring it across the lower back around that kidney loop. And the intention here, as we open the groin and stretch that inner thigh, is also to find space through the collarbones and breathe into the back body. The gaze could be over the shoulder. It could be gazing down towards that front arm. Find your breath. Last cycle here. And as you complete your next exhale, preparing for the transition, I'm going to push off that front leg. Bring my knees back together. And exhale back down into child's pose. Walking the arms around to the side and forward if they were behind you. And 3 breaths here. Equalizing with slow, nourishing breaths. On the completion of your next exhale, we'll make that transition again onto our hands and our knees, curling our toes behind us and finding our downward facing dog again. Shifting forward towards your plank. Lovely. From here, I'm going to release my left knee down, kickstand that foot behind. Bring my left hand underneath my face as I spin open to the right side, lifting my arch and feeling the outer edge of my right foot connect to the mat. From here, I'm going to take the head of my elbow and I'm just going to spin it. So I'm going to feel that rotation in my shoulder joint, broadening the collarbones, and then placing my hand behind my head. Finding your center of gravity. So if you choose, you can play with your balance by lifting that extended leg as high as you can, perhaps level with the hip. Staying present by noticing the breath, even if it gets a little challenging. And on the exhale, I'm going to draw my heel in towards my glute as if I was squeezing a tennis ball behind my knee. Some of us will stay there. Some of us might choose to extend that arm, reach back and grab the top of the foot. And just feeling that nice stretch, that opening through the front of the thigh. Again, you can choose the angle of your head. Some of you might begin to kind of kick that foot into the hand. Lovely, finding that nice opening through the front of the body. Taking one more breath wherever you're at. And then slowly releasing out. Yes, and then we'll walk those hands forward as I bring my left foot now back behind my left knee. And my fingertips are on the ground here. Dropping this right hip down towards the ground to kind of neutralize the pelvis. Activating that quadricep, hugging the muscle towards the bone, lifting the arch, and from there I'm going to walk my hands up to either side of my pelvis. Lovely. Now from here, we're going to take the left arm now, reach it up and bring it behind the head, pressing the back of the skull into the palm. And as I drop my right hip down, I'm going to begin to find some space as I laterally lengthen off to the side. I can feel the engagement and the strength of my legs supporting me as I slide my hand down. The underside of the body is coming forward towards you as the upper body is opening, breathing into the front side and back of the ribcage. Finding the smooth, gentle, nourishing breath to sustain you, to resource you this morning. Last cycle here. And as you complete your exhale, use the inhale to support you as you come up. Lovely. I'm going to spin my right foot out, my knee going in the direction of my second and third toe, finding some leverage as I use my arm against my thigh. And same intention of bringing that underside forward, extending the left arm out. Perhaps the thumb comes down and crosses over the lower back. Feeling a nice opening through the groin. Breathing into the kidney loop, filling up the back body with the breath. Toes opening, the bottoms of the feet, releasing into the ground. 2 more cycles of breath here. And as you finish that next cycle, we'll slowly begin our transition as we slide that right leg back to center and find your child's pose again, perhaps with your arms reaching back towards the toes. Taking the arms out to the side like a T. And then forward. Slowly rising back up to all fours, curl the toes under. Shifting forward towards your plank. Releasing the knees and drawing those elbows in as you release from your chest down. Inhaling into a low cobra. I'm going to slide my elbows forward as I come into Sphinx pose. I'm actually moving back so that you can see me. So my wrists are in line with my elbows underneath the pit of my shoulders. broadening the collarbones, tips of the shoulder blades down. Firing up those legs, so keeping the legs active as you feel the tops of your feet press into the floor, especially the pinky side of the foot. Connect to your breath, and on your exhale, I'm going to invite you to stick your tongue out as far as you can, and like a lion, all the way from the bottom of your gut, taking a nice roar. Inhaling in. This time as the tongue sticks out, the eyes are going to gaze up towards the sky. And one more, please. As the tongue comes in, we invite a nice gentle breath and just noticing what you notice. And as you're ready, slowly releasing down the front of the spine, stacking the arms as we come into crocodile pose, releasing the energy of the legs as you let the weight of your head rest on your forearms. 3 breaths here. As you finish your next exhalation, preparing your transition. Maybe the hands come to your sides, maybe you roll to your side, but we're going to transition back into child's pose. Actually, let's make it embryo pose, so knees and ankles together this time. And dropping the weight of the hips and just letting the belly compress down onto the thighs. I'm going to reach my arms back. If the head doesn't make it to the ground, you can always stack your fist and rest your forehead. Just letting the weight of your bones sink down into the ground. 2 more cycles of breath. And on the completion of your exhale, we're going to slowly bring ourselves up and come back into Sukhasana the way we began our practice. This time we can be a little bit more liberal by bringing those feet in a little closer towards the opposite sits bone. Even reaching back to kind of lift the flesh of your buttocks so that you can feel that lift. I'd like to guide you through a breathing exercise known as Kapalbhati. So this is more of a kriya, a cleansing ritual. It's really great for kind of clearing the sinuses and creating a little bit more clarity in our mental body. So to begin, let's just take our hands and place them on our bellies, right below the rib cage. And the intention of this practice is to focus on the exhale. I like to imagine a little cowgirl or cowboy behind my belly button, and every time I exhale, they're lassoing my navel and drawing it back towards my spine. The inhale is kind of like it just spontaneously, it happens naturally. It's a recoil. So we just breathe in naturally and we exhale. So it sounds like this. Trying to maintain a nice, calm upper body with the emphasis right here at the navel center. So I'm going to invite you to join me at your own pace. You might do 7, you might do 11, you might do 21. Okay, so I'm going to go for 21 today for this first round. And relaxing my jaw, drawing my chin slightly in, finding our elegant spine, feeling the stability of our lower body. Let's all exhale out through the nose to begin. Inhaling to start. When you're complete, just take a natural inhale and exhale through the nose. We're going to do another round. If you're new to this practice, you might choose to keep your hands exactly where they are. The rest of us might choose to interlace our hands and extend them skyward. So the arm variation is not more or less than another arm variation. It's just a different way of experiencing this Kriya. So let's take another breath in, draw the chin slightly down, exhale through the nose to start. Breathe in and begin. When all the air is out, inhale through the nose, exhale the arms back down, maybe even touch the ground. Feel that stability. And for this last round, you can choose, maybe hands on belly, maybe hands interlace up to the sky, or you might choose to reach back and grab opposite or touch opposite shoulder blades. I'm not grabbing, I'm just lightly touching opposite shoulder blades. Drawing the chin slightly down, feel the stability in the lower half of the body. Again, we'll start by exhaling out. Inhale and begin. Inhaling, exhaling through the nose as we release the arms back down. And again, perhaps in a grounding mudra as I take my first two fingers to the floor. And then coming to let the hands rest on your thighs. They could be up, they could be down. But closing the eyes very gently, drawing your gaze inward. And just being with whatever sensations might be present for you. Feeling the energy right beneath the layer of your skin. And as you're ready, we can bring our palms back into Anjali Mudra in that gesture of wholeness of the heart. Giving thanks for this opportunity to feel the presence of your own radiance. And may you choose to share that with others through your thoughts and your words and your actions. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Namaste.